Okay, today we're going to be looking at the famous, world famous 1911 pistol. This is my target pistol that I use on the farm, and I've fallen in love with this thing. This is a Springfield range officer. I love Springfield's products. They make excellent 1911s. This is a simple little Yagi holster. This is put out by Galco. Not a real cheap holster. I think they're about 60 bucks. I did some horse trading to end up with this little rig. It's a very minimalist. You can see it shows the gun off a lot. It holds good. It's got good tension adjustments right there, but this is what I use on the farm. So let's take a look at this. You'll notice another feature that I've got. I have added a non-factory mag. That is the Wilson 47D. 47D, it's a Wilson Combat mag. We'll talk about that here in a little while. Right now, I want to start you off with the gun. Let's go ahead and open this baby up. Checking for empty. We'll lay this right here on this holster so you can kind of get a little bit better look at it. That is the nice range officer. They do not build this gun anymore, but they do build a Garrison, which is very similar to this. The only thing you have to do different for the Garrison to make it just like this is go ahead and replace the rear sight. This is a target sight. So here's what has happened to me. This is me with, I'm gonna say, about 50 years of experience. I started off with a Colt 1911 back when I joined the Navy, and that was my first one that I bought, was a Colt government model. But the very first one that I shot was a GI 1911 pistol. I was down on the White River, and a man had come back from the Army. He'd been in the Army for a number of years, and he had a GI style government 1911 with the little small sights. And they took out a can. They used to call it white gas. It was Coleman lantern fuel. It was a steel can. They threw it down into the White River. There's no telling how far it was. It was a long distance off, and the White River was raging. And he handed me that 1911 pistol, little bitty half moon front sight, and I was used to shooting a BB gun, but I got on it as fast as I could. And the first shot that I shot, I missed the can, but I was close. So I made a quick adjustment, got on it, and I hit the can and knocked it up into the air, and a few shots later I had that can sunk. And I was young. I'm talking about I was 13, 14 years old. So that's 50 years ago, and I always liked the 1911. I got in the Navy, bought that brand new Colt government model. That was in 1980, right after boot camp. Always loved 1911. Then Glock came along, and I got off into some cheap guns, some cheap plastic guns, and I was kind of thrilled with all their high capacity stuff, and I liked them. They were interesting guns. I'm not going to fuss about them, but I shot them, and I started off with the G21 full-size Glock 45. I had the little brick, the little G30. I had the little skinny 45, the G36. And since then, I have had a lot of different guns. I've had some Dan Wesson 1911s. I've had Springfield XD. I've had Walther PPQ. I've had the Walther PDP and had those in 9mm. And recently, I just got really serious about carrying. Here in Arkansas, they have changed our laws, and they've gone to open carry, and I just decided that I wanted to have something like this. Now, I'm gonna be like the golfers are. When they reach into their bag, they've got a 3-iron and a 5-iron and a 4-wood and a putter. They got a whole sack full of them, a dozen different ones. And I've fallen back in love with the 1911 so much, I've decided that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get me a slew of them. My wife, I talked her into getting a 1911. And she said, well, here's the thing. I want one that's lightweight. I don't want it to be heavy like yours. This thing's 40 ounces. 40 ounces. So I said, well, honey, I'll see what they've got. She said, I don't want it to be that big either. I want it to be a little bit smaller. So I said, well, I'll look and see what I can come up with. So I found that the TSOS company built one that was just like the old Colt Commander. And so I began to look at that, and I said, well, I wonder if they make one in aluminum. And sure enough, they did make one in aluminum, and so that's what I bought her. I bought her a Commander-sized gun. It is 4 1/4 inches long on the barrel. It has the lower frame built out of aluminum, and it even had something that's very expensive, normally Ed Brown feature, is this nice bobtail right here. So this became part of our collection of the 1911s. I wanted her to have something where she could shoot a man-sized caliber, so she now has this right here for her bullets. Now I build these bullets myself. I didn't want her to get kicked around since she's using a fairly lightweight gun. And here's what she's shooting right here. She's shooting a 230 grain, 4 grains of bullseye, and my accuracy load for not just accuracy but reliability is 1.26 inches long. That's critical. So in her magazine, she uses a, this is a nice magazine that they give with the gun. That is a Metgar. Metgar is a very reliable mag. It has a little plastic follower, flat and square. But boy, look at that, 1.26, it goes right in there, smooth as silk. And that loads in her gun, shoots good. I just did a video on it. If you'll look back at another video, I call it the Down and Dirty. Checking my EDC gun for my wife, but that's what she is shooting now, is that round right there. Eventually we'll get some hollow points. But right now it's down and dirty and I'm cheap. So what did she used to shoot? Well, my gosh, did I have to do some serious repenting. Let me move this back just a little bit. I'm gonna have to zoom out. I want you to be able to see this whole picture. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing for me and my wife. Believe it or not, I had her shooting girl bullets. Man, it was embarrassing. I look back on that now, I can't believe I did that to my wife. I had her shooting 9mm, if you could imagine. Golly. Now I know somebody's gonna throw a fit and say, oh, the 9mm is the most popular thing in the world. Well, that's good. Help yourself, man. If you want 9mm, go get some. Well, if we get in a combat situation, there'll be 9mm NATO all over the place. Well, that's true too, but on my farm, I've got myself a reloading machine and I make a bunch of bullets. So I've already got a supply of bullets. Look at those things, man. That's embarrassing. I had my wife using that to protect herself. Now you could say, well, it'll do that like a 45 and you got a hollow point and it can do this like a 45 and it's almost this like a 45. And I heard that my whole life, 50 years worth of that nonsense, that it's almost this and almost that. And the FBI got tired of shooting people and then they just kept on coming, so they went to a 10mm. And then that was too much, and that was breaking the guns in half, and the girls couldn't hold it down, and there was all kinds of problems with the 10mm, so they chopped the top of that off and turned it into the 40 short and weak. And that's a super high pressure round that turned out to be an absolute nothing burger. People that have bought the Glock 40, there's still a lot of people who have them, but they're dying just as fast. They're just falling off a log like dead turtles. The 40's gone. And these companies that are building these pistols for the 1911, they're building pistols that are, good night, man. They're building pistols that are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and they look like this right here. And you can get them. Now you can get them in a 9mm. I mean, I'm not going to fault somebody if they've got to have a little 9mm round, they can have that. But I'm promising you a 9mm round in factory ammo or NATO, some of that high pressure stuff has got so much snap, it's ridiculous compared to one of my nice hand loads. That hand load right there is 4 grains of bullseye powder. It comes out of the barrel at 750 feet per second. And you'd be shocked what that thing will shoot through. I filled up a 5-gallon bucket full of mulch, heavy mulch from hardwood and pine wood blended together, a 5-gallon bucket full of it, and then squirted that full of water until it was almost floating, packed it down as hard as I could, And I shot 5 rounds of this right here. These little simple lightweight target loads. That shot right through 5 gallons of wet mulch and blew holes in the bottom of my bucket. And then shot into the ground so deep I couldn't even dig them out with my finger. So I'm done with people telling me that that slow 45 can't get it done. I don't listen to that anymore. Opinion is just that, it's just opinion. So now, say, well, what can you do with 1911? Well, you can do all kinds of custom work on the trigger, and boy, this is really something. Now watch this. I'll see if I can get this picked up. This is an old school. I'll move some of the bullets out of the way. It's an old school scale, RCBS, what I weigh my fish with, my brim and stuff. And you can set that up like that. Hopefully I can get this to show something on the screen. We'll set that. I'm gonna set this off to the side maybe so you can see it. Gun has been checked empty. We'll put that like that. Gun's gonna be way over there. It may be out of the screen, but we're gonna see what we can do here. And I gotta pull that safety. Let's see what we can get here before that trigger breaks. That's about 36 ounces. Let's do that again. 34 ounces. Let's do it one more time. Make sure I'm not touching anything here. Okay, 34, 36, somewhere in that range. Now this is not the super fancy digital scale, but if it blows at 36 ounces, what that means is that right there is a 2.25 pound trigger, 2.25 pound trigger. And that's pretty good. Now this is my target gun. I would not run it that light for carry. Let's get these little 9mm girl bullets, these little toy bullets, get them out of the picture. Those are my hand loads. I know they're weird. Those are for aliens, real small aliens. They're so small they're ridiculous. And if I had to choose, if somebody gave me the choice, now this is one of those movie situations, theoretical, and I got tied down and the bad guy was torturing me, and he told me, he said, now I'm going to shoot you, and I've only got 1 bullet left in each one of my guns. I'm going to shoot you in the stomach with a bullet, and I'm going to let you choose which one. Here's what he said to me. He said, okay, I'm going to give you a choice now. I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to check my camera, see if you can see this. So the bad guy says this to me. He says, I've got 2 guns here. Each one's got a bullet. And I'm going to let you choose which one I'm going to shoot you with. And I think about that for a minute. He says, yeah, I'm going to shoot you with one of these bullets right here. That's what I'm going to do. One of these bullets is going to go right into your stomach, right here. You get to pick which one you want. Bad guy says, you can have that little 9mm, little toy looking bullet right there. You can have that 9mm. So, well, they're not hollow points. No, they're not hollow points. That always is another discussion that everybody wants to argue about. Just keep in mind, you can make both of them into hollow points. That discussion's worthless. So you can have one of those. One of them I'm gonna shoot you with, right in the stomach. Shoot you right in the belly button. Which one you want to get shot with? I have to pick one of those? Yes, sir. We're gonna pop you with one, and then we're gonna run out the door, and just, you can hope for the best. I said, well, if I have to choose between the 2 of those, you're only gonna shoot me 1 time. You sure you're gonna honor what you're saying? Yes, sir. Okay, I'll pick this one right here. That's the one right there. I want to be shot with that little toy one. That one right there, the little 9mm. I'll take that one. So what are you gonna do with that other one? Well, that other one right there, we're gonna go ahead and leave that in the gun. We're gonna walk off with that, and we're gonna keep our 45. We might need it for some serious duties. Okay. I'll take it. Now, in theory, I don't want to be shot with either one of them, okay? But if a bad guy, if you have to pop a bad guy, I mean, you had to. I don't want to shoot anybody. I want to just keep this as a target rig on the farm. That's all I want to do with that, just shoot targets. I like to shoot PVC pipe. I like to shoot playing cards. I like to shoot at pennies. I like to throw cans in the water. I like to make little wooden boats and shoot at those. That's fine with me. But I'm telling you, if you had to shoot somebody coming in your house, one of them 25 million that just crossed the border, one of them come in from, oh, I don't know, just pick a place, Nicaragua, Venezuela, wherever. They break him out of the insane asylum. He comes over here with a machete and walks through the gate. You'd be well served. That right there, this right here, this is one on the resume for this 1911 right here, and I don't care which one you pick. Both these, they're 1911 style guns. They both that style gun right there has gone through 2 world wars and helped us win 2 world wars. They didn't knock any Sherman tanks off the track. But if you had somebody run in the trenches and you'd run out of ammo on your big rifle, on your M1 Garand or your M1 carbine, or maybe even in the beginning of NOM, if you'd run out of ammo on your M16 and you got shoved down into a hole and all you had was to draw out that GI 1911, something like that, but not near this fancy, just a plain Jane one, that'll get the job done. You didn't even have to look at your sights. You just point your hand. It has a very natural point of aim. That's a beautiful thing about this. A Glock doesn't have that. A Glock, as soon as you pick up a Glock, you close your eyes and throw that gun out there and try to aim, you are not going to be aimed at the target. They purposely built that so that gun is leaning down to help you with recoil and all that stuff. I don't have to worry about that. I'd rather have a gun that has what's called an NPA, natural point of aim. So natural point of aim, I like that. It works very good for me. So I have sold out all my plastic guns, got rid of them. I got rid of all my toy bullets, all them little 9mm toy girl bullets, they're all gone. And I'm sorry if that hurt somebody's feelings, but your feelings, they don't mean a whole lot to me. I'm here to talk about guns, something that I enjoy. If you want to shoot 9mm, man, buy a whole sack full of them. Buy one that'll hold 100 rounds. Buy you a Glock 19 or Glock 17. Get you a whole sack full of 33 round mags and just blaze away. That's fine. That's fine. But for precision target shooting, I'm gonna stick with this gun right here. You're not gonna see any precision shooters shooting a bullseye contest at 50 yards with a Glock. Say, why is that? Well, I'll show you why. This gun that I hold in my hand, and I'm gonna double check it again. I like to always check my guns empty. This gun I'm holding in my hand right here, we'll go ahead and put the empty mag in it. This gun right here, if you do your trigger work properly, and I can show you how to do these, I'm gonna say this on this video. If you want to know how to set up one of these with a very crisp, lightweight trigger, all you have to do is go into the comment section and say, hey, you said something about triggers. Can you tell me how to do that? And I will get with you and give you some information on these triggers. Now, you are completely responsible for your own trigger, every trigger pull you make. But I can show you what the experts have to say about this trigger. You can set this trigger up so crisp on a 1911 that it has no real take-up other than that initial take-up, which is 1 pound on this trigger. 1 pound of take-up, and then 1.25 more pounds, and that trigger breaks. So a guy shooting at 50 yards, or a girl, there's both out there shooting bullseye, they'll put a red dot on top of this. Some of them use a serendipity, which means they drill the frame. They have a saddle that rides up tall, and they will use something called an ultra dot. They've had it since the 70s. They'll put an ultra dot. It has a very precision round dot that just happens to be exactly the same size as the bullseye at 50 yards. And they'll take a gun like this. This is a very accurate target gun, range officer. And they'll get that trigger down there real light and crisp like that. They'll get them some target rounds. They may shoot a 185 in a different style bullet. They may use a semi-wad cutter in copper. They may use a 200 grain. They may use a 230, but whatever they use, they'll get it tuned for that gun. They'll have a light recoil spring like I've got in here. This is a 14-pound recoil and a very light spring and a light load, and they will sit there and drill that bullseye, that black bullseye, at 50 yards. So did they do that with the Glocks and the XDs and VP9s and all that? Nope, 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 nope. Those are combat guns. The 1911, that's the beauty of the 1911, is that it can be set up for precision work. You're just not going to see that. You're not going to see that with these plastic guns. The plastic guns, the striker fired guns, they all have a problem with them. And that is, no matter what you do, those guns have problems with their triggers. Their triggers, they say, well, it does this and it almost does this and it's almost like a 1911, and they will beat around the bush all day long talking about it's almost a 45 and it's almost like a 1911. And at the end of the day, what I want to say to them is, why don't you go ahead and spend some money and get yourself a 1911? I mean, you're talking all around it. Have you noticed that through the years, people have a standard for something. They'll realize the gold standard is what's right in front of them, and they'll go buy something else. They'll go buy a piece of plastic. So my soul feels better. My spirit, my brain, everything about me felt better to get rid of these little toy bullets, these little 9mm toy bullets. That's 38 caliber, that's all that is. 355 is almost the same as 38 caliber. And that's made for carrying a whole sack full of bullets to go into combat. A guy can carry more of these in combat situations, that's fine. You want to be a 9mm NATO and be off of the German army, that's fine. Go ahead and do that, that's fine, no problem. But for me, as I got older, this bullet is just easier to handle. It's a bigger bullet. My fingers deal with it better. The shell is easier to handle. These shells will last you, these cases will last 5 times. I may pay a nickel for one of these used pieces of brass, and I can shoot that thing 5 times. That makes that piece of brass worth 25 cents. I can load these hand loads right here half the cost of what you're going to pay for these bullets at the store. It's ridiculous what they charge. You can go buy 50 rounds now, and it may be $25 for 50 rounds. Well, that's 50 cents a pop. That's almost the price of a rifle round. And I can load these for right at, I can make the brass worth nothing because I reloaded it so many times. Primer's a dime, the powder I might have 2 or 3 cents, and I might have 15 cents in the bullet. I can load these for about 25 cents a pop, and that's me counting my coffee drinking time, and loading time is just fun. I don't count my labor into it, but I can get that. I guarantee I can load that at 25 cents a pop. And it's 50 cents a pop if you buy them at the store. Now, since these are nice light loads at 4 grains of powder, and I'm not coming out of the barrel at 850 or 900 foot a second, my wife can take her nice lightweight gun, this nice little T-Sauce Stingray. She take that little Stingray, say, oh, you shouldn't let them touch. Well, they're liable to make a baby, but we're gonna let it lay right there. She can shoot her gun with this load and manage it, no problem. One hand, I've had her do it. I've had her shoot one hand. She said, I'm scared of the 45. I've heard it's got all that, you know, and it'll kick me around and all that stuff. That's not true. You get a nice light load like that. She's got a 16-pound recoil spring in her gun, and let me show you what that does for the ladies. 16-pound recoil. Here's what it does. 16-pound plus the hammer spring, I reduced it a little bit too. Watch this now, watch this. See if I can do it right there. It's buttery smooth, see that? 2 fingers, a thumb, well, actually 1 finger and a thumb, but watch what it does here. See how smooth that is? Man, I mean, that thing is smooth as silk. Now listen to it load. I'm gonna go ahead and load 1 round into hers. We'll do this very carefully. I know everybody in the world's watching this, so we'll do it super careful. I want you to hear how smooth this gun loads. It's absolutely amazing. See, there's 1 live round. That's one of my hand loads. Keep our finger away from the trigger like that, and watch that thing go in. Now listen to it. Just listen real carefully how smooth it is. Hear that? Safety on. Boy, that thing is ready to go. Say, is it a massive amount of recoil? No, let's go ahead and shoot it. I'll shoot it right here so you can see it, and I'm gonna shoot it over there into the ground, and you can watch my hand, and I'm gonna shoot it one-handed. Now watch my hand, watch the massive recoil of this gun. You ready? Here we go, it's gonna be massive. Look at that. That wasn't massive anything. That's nice and smooth. So, love me a 45, love me a steel gun, not plastic. Say, well, how did that thing get to be so light at 26 ounces? You're getting down there with the Glocks and the XDs and the PDPs and PPQs and VP9s and all that. Yes, I am. 26 ounces, how'd it get so light? Aluminum, man, aluminum frame. But that's not soft aluminum, that's aircraft aluminum. And it's not extruded aluminum, that's a forged block of forged aluminum. So now my wife has got a gun that's very easy to load. It's very nice to carry. She can put it in a belly band around her stomach or right below the girls on her chest. Put that thumb safety on. Now I do this for my wife. This is me. I'm very careful with this. If you're going to carry a gun, you're going to use a thumb safety. The first thing I do is I go in there, I get with Wilson Combat, and I buy the spring and the dual plunger, stainless steel plungers, and I put heavy duty. I get factory plus is what it's called. So what does that do? That makes it where that thumb safety is very snickety. That's what you want. You want a good snick. Listen to this. Hear that? And you got to push pretty hard to get it to go up, and you got to push pretty hard to get it to go down. Say, why do you do that? Because I want her to be able to carry that gun around empty, just like that, cocked and locked, empty, for a whole day. And at the end of the day, she ought to be able to pull that gun out of her holster, belly band or side holster, and that safety needs to be in the on mode. In the safe mode needs to stay right there. If you ever pull a gun out and that safety somehow during the day has got knocked down like that, your spring is way too soft. So that's a factor right there. So with the grip safety and the thumb safety, that gun is very safe. She can put that, like I say, in a belly band, or she can put it on her side, put a little coat over the edge of it, and that's a very safe gun. Say, how long does it take to activate it to be ready to shoot? Doesn't take any time. As your hand goes on that, your thumb's going down. As you're coming up on the target with that, you're looking at whatever the bad situation is. As soon as your sights are coming up, that thumb safety's off and you're making the shot, man. I mean, it's, for a 1911 person, you get on the farm or get somewhere where you can practice one a lot, you pull it out of the holster as you're coming up and you're getting on target. As soon as you start seeing that sight come on target, that safety goes off. Bang, 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 make your shots. The hammer will be to the rear. You're getting ready to holster it. You flip the safety back on, shove it in the holster. So that seems like a lot of training. Man, people have been doing this for over 100 years. You get used to that. You can, it's muscle memory. You can burn it right in your brain. I do exactly the same thing with mine. I'm on the farm, I'm shooting this as a target gun, and that gun is empty. Go ahead and pull that mag out. Gun's empty like that. I let it go down. As soon as it fires, it goes again. I flip the thumb safety on and I'm ready. I mean, I put it back in the holster and cover up that trigger like that. I got a good safe gun. I don't have to worry about nothing. That gun cannot go off. Let's review what it takes for this gun to fire, okay? Let's pretend like it's loaded. What does it take to fire? Number one, you have to be able to clear leather. Number one, you have to be able to clear leather. Number two, grip safety has to be made. Number three, thumb safety has to come off. Number four, trigger has to be pulled. So when you do those four things in sequence, let's review them again. Four things have to be done in sequence. You got a bad situation, bad guy coming in on you hot, you got four things have to happen. You're clearing leather. That's gonna happen because you're drawing a gun. Well, to clear leather, you've got to get a grip on the gun. So now you made the grip safety, you cleared leather. That's first two steps done. Third step coming up, putting sights on, there's third step, fourth step, pull the trigger, boom. As soon as you get the problem solved and the hammer goes to the rear on about the second or third shot, maybe just one shot, put that safety on, reholster, make the 911 call. It's just like that when they show up. Took care of the problem solved. So the 1911, there's nothing wrong with it, man. There's nothing wrong with this gun. Somebody says, well, I had one and it jammed. I'm gonna tell you how to prevent that. Number one, get yourself a reloader and build a bullet just like that. Just like that. 1.26 inches overall. You get a Lee factory crimper, you crimp that down to 470. In my case, I go just a touch below that at 0.4695, half a thousandth below 470. With that Lee factory taper crimp on that built to a length of 1.260, it'll go in every time, man. I mean, it's just smooth as silk. Watch this. I'm gonna go ahead and load this one. We may load it and shoot it so you can see the massive recoil on this big old heavy gun. Watch this. There is, I'm gonna get this out of the picture. Here is a nice 47D Wilson Combat Mag. I'm just having too much fun, just talking up a storm. Okay, here we go. So there's the target model. That's a 40-ounce gun. Put that in there like that. Listen how smooth it goes. Goes right in, safety on. Okay, so I wanna make my target shot. Check my camera, everything looks good on the camera. Here goes the target shot with massive recoil. Ready? Try not to shoot my table. Thumb safety off, finger on the trigger. Now watch it carefully. Watch this gun go crazy, boy. It's just gonna be massive recoil. Oh, wait a minute. It wasn't massive, it was nothing to it. It was just super easy, super nice. Hit exactly where I was aiming at. You didn't get to see that part, but I blew a gnat's underwear off over there. So let's finish talking about this. What else do I like about these? Well, it can be set up for target like this. You can get it set up for target. Say, well, I can't afford one of those. That's almost $1,000 for that gun. And you said your wife's gun, how much was it? It was $629. Boy, I'd like to get me a 45, but I don't want to spend that much money. Now listen to this, listen carefully, and this is gonna be the end of my video, but you gotta listen carefully. This company right here that builds this T-Sauce, I love those bullets. Man, there's something about 45 bullets, they just make you happy. I'm telling you, they do, look at them. You can buy from this company right here a beautiful gun that's called the GI. It's the Army, and that's GI style, just like they had in the Army back in 1911. They sell that gun for $349. You can stay below $400, and those things are beautiful, man. They're 5-inch. It'll be more like the size of this big boy. Okay, I'll tell you what it'll be. I'll use this as a comparison. Okay, we'll just use this comparison. The GI will look like this. It will be a 5-inch gun, 5-inch slide, 5-inch frame. It'll have this size grip, but it won't have the high rod beaver tail. It'll just be a plain Jane looking. It'll look like it's Parkerized, but they even do one up from that. It's not Parkerized, it's Cerakote, but it's Parkerized color, kind of that green grayish look. It'll have a loop on the bottom, have a lanyard loop. It will be forged lower, forged upper, forged barrel, and all the parts inside it will be steel parts, no MIM parts. In one of those T-Sauce is the brand, a T-Sauce GI. And you will get that thing, you can get it, like I say, for $3. I saw one today on the internet. This is 2024, October. It was $345. It was below $350. Below $350. Now with taxes and everything out the door, you might be right at $400. But those things are very nice. They're solid steel, forged lower, forged upper, good forged, cold hammer forged barrel. All the parts fit a lot tighter than the old GI. I'll tell you how nice they look. They're such a nice looking GI gun that if you go to Alabama to the Civilian Marksmanship Program, CMP program, they've got cases of them laid out there that they're selling to boys that want to have an Army looking gun like Grandpa carried in World War I and World War II. And they don't tell you that they're World War I or II. They tell you point blank, these are from T-Sauce, from Turkey. But they've got the box here and it'll say U.S. Army, and they're just beautiful guns, man. So if you want to get into a 1911 and you want just a combat style gun where you're going to carry it for fighting, it won't be a target gun because it won't have target sights on it. But if you want something you can hit with at 7 yards or 10 yards, you can pop balloons or hit paper plates. If you've got really good young eyes, even though it's a little bitty half moon front sight, you can still, you'd be surprised how good you can hit with. I watched a man today doing a sight-in with one. He was at 7 yards, and I watched him double tap the target. He was shooting at a bullseye about that big, and I watched 2 of the bullets land in the same hole. That tells me that gun itself is very accurate. And then over time, if you wanted to, you could take that GI, send it off somebody, and have them put you some target sights on it. Maybe put a better barrel bushing. Maybe you want to put a match grade barrel in it. or maybe you just want to keep it GI as a truck gun. I'm telling you, these guns are so manageable, and they're so much fun to be able to change. You can change the grips. Man, that's the range officer grips are beautiful. This one I came up with Cool Hand, the company, and got these nice grips. They got the gray and the black, so I wanted to match her gray lower frame, aluminum frame, with the black upper. So I got her some grips. These are G10 grips. You can see the laminated right there. It's got the cutout for the mag release. But that's beautiful, man. And $629 out the door with tax and everything for her gun. This one I bought used for $850. Anytime you can get a nice Target 1911 stay below $1,000, that's fantastic. You cannot buy this anymore, this range officer, but Springfield Armory does sell one called the Garrison. And the Garrison, you can get it exactly like this gun. All you gotta do is add your target sights and you'll be up and running. So take a break, man, from your plastic guns. Let your buddies, let the kids play with the Glocks and the 9mm and all that stuff. Get you a man gun. Get you something that you can shoot super accurate with. There's no telling how accurate. I've already shot stuff with this. It's unbelievable. I shot a 2 of hearts the other day at 10 yards. I've got it videoed. You can see it. And I shot one heart and then shot the other heart at 2 of hearts. I've shot the ace of spades, hit dead center on the ace, just perfect on the ace. Very accurate gun. I shot PVC pipe today with this at 10 yards, some 2-inch, and I shot it so tight a tolerance that I cut it in half with 2 shots. Go on my videos, you'll see it. So thank y'all for listening. For somebody that loves their plastic gun, their 9mm, I hope I didn't hurt their feelings too bad, but this is not about feelings. This is about facts. And it's just hard to beat a steel gun, man. It's hard to say, well, that one's too heavy and it's too big. Get you one that's got aluminum frame and 3/4 inch sawed off the nose. And now you got you a nice lightweight carry gun at 26 ounces. Say, well, that's not near accurate enough. I want something super precise that I can play with and adjust. Get you a nice range officer or something equivalent to it. The Garrison has some target sights put on it. And then you got a beautiful big old clicker right there. You can click that down to Nat's underwear. You can click that down to Nat's bow tie and get very precise. You can set that trigger crisp. Remember, go into the comment section and I'll tell you exactly how to set these up. Light recoil springs, light striker springs for the hammer, how to go into the main spring, the sear spring, and adjust your trigger. I'll go into all that or show you at least the experts and how to get to it. So thank y'all for listening. Please tap that like and subscribe on the way out the door. And for my Marine friends that like to click on that super thanks and send me $2, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it so much. So hope that helps everybody. Hope everybody enjoys that. Looking at those 2 fine pieces of steel. And if you don't have one yet, man, get you one. I mean, they are just nice to have. And 45 caliber with a nice soft hand load, very nice. Over and out for now.